Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Let me get you in a little bit of an intro. Welcome to Live Talking Blues. Hey, what's up, guys? Hello, y'all on Blues Planet. Now, listen, our next guest has been dubbed making what they call conscious music, which refers to lyrics that have some basis in spiritual and humanist philosophy. Now, listen, it incorporates a variety of in traditional music like Celtic music, Afro folk music, Afrobeat music, soul, even chamber music. Our violinist, our virtuoso violinist tonight is Ann Harris. Our special guest on Live Talking Blues. Welcome, Ann Harris. Come on in, Ann. What's
Hey,
happening?
what's up? Peace and love, everybody. I'm
Peace and
so
love to you, Mrs. Thank you so much for coming on this virtual Planet Blues. How
Kat.
you
I am
keeping?
honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Now, listen, where do we start? You got such a illustrious career, and let's start from where you were raised. Where did you come from? I know you're in
Okay.
Chicago now, right?
Yeah, I live just outside of the city of Chicago right now, but I was born and raised about a 6 hour drive south of Chicago in Ohio, in a small, very small liberal arts college town. The college is called Antioch College, and it was a really big hotbed for hippies and alternative lifestyle people, growing up. And it still is that way. I'm very proud to be from that place. And one of the things that I love about being from that very progressive community is that music and the arts was strongly supported in our schools, and just as like a cultural force in our town.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I was brought up. I was brought up in a very musical family. My parents did not play instruments as musicians, but they loved music, and they had this
Uh-huh.
incredible collection of vinyls. So I grew up listening to a wide range of music, everything from classical to blues to rock to soul and funk and pop and everything, you name it, musical theater. And so I never really differentiated genres. I just knew what I liked. And I sort of felt there is and still feel there's a soul that runs through all music that hits you in the heart. And the
That's
genre
it.
doesn't matter, you know.
It really doesn't, does it? I mean, music has its own language, and they have to pigeonhole it on a commercial basis. But
Yeah.
on a humanistic basis, there is no pigeonhole, is there?
Exactly. Exactly. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. I understand that people want to know, oh, what kind of a record is it? So they
Yeah.
can help file and process that expectation in their brain of what that experience will be like. But I always find that as an artist, and you would understand this as an
Mm-hmm.
artist yourself, um, to only be defined by one aspect of what makes your art complete never really works.
No, because I mean, it's even a mood, isn't it? Your art is a mood. I mean,
Yes,
you may feel like classical in the morning, and you might want to have some gospel, some screaming gospel foot stomping stuff in the evening, isn't it?
yes, exactly, exactly. And all
Now,
of it is relevant. There's little
uh-huh.
departments of our heart that hold everything.
Yeah.
Um, so
I wonder.
absolutely.
I wonder why. I wonder why. I guess people don't really express that. They may feel it, but we're having a conversation about that specific thing. But I guess people do feel it. But I guess they're kind of told what to do. Like if you listen to like terrestrial radio
Yeah.
and the top 10, and it go the A list just repeats every 30 minutes. You hear the
Yeah.
same song, and
Yeah.
people don't have the luxury of thinking about it because it just kind of comes in like a conveyor belt all during the
Yes.
day, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. That subliminal programming.
Yes, exactly. Listen, I got a question from Jeff Horn. Um, he wrote to us earlier this week, and he asked, he goes, "Oh, Ann Harris, is she related to Sugarcane Harris?"
Ah,
And I said, "Well, I'm not sure, but we definitely ask her. We know Sugarcane comes from the other side. He's from Pasadena, California, and you're from more
yes.
like the East Coast, isn't it?" So,
Yeah, I'm from the middle of the country, but sugarcane, that's such a great question, and I'm glad he asked it just because it will give me the opportunity to talk about the importance of sugarcane Harris to me.
fantastic.
Um, Sugarcane Harris and Papa John Creech are two of my idols. They're, first of all, Sugarcane Harris, if people are not familiar with him, is a violin player who is deceased, but
Yes.
he was not defined by genres. He was a virtuoso in the truest sense of the word. I think he was
Okay.
trained classically as well. And he did a lot of records back. You can find him online. Just do a YouTube search and you'll find all of his recorded material. And he could jump from jazz to
Amazing.
blues to classical with an ease and a virtuosity that was truly staggering. He had his
Yes.
own personal demons that unfortunately I think might have kept him from becoming the force of nature he truly was when he played. But we just share the same name, so as blood relations know, as
Yeah.
kindred spirits, I just aspire to be the sort of artist that can feel at ease expressing their heart with truth through their violin, through their instruments. That's what he did. That's also what Papa John Creech, of course, did. So,
Hmm.
so the
And
short answer is no,
they,
but the
they
long
said that,
answer,
yeah, the long answer. They said he was partly responsible for one of the pioneers in the amplification of the violin.
yeah, he was
Um,
one of the first ones, as was Papa John Creech, to
I see.
plug in the early '70s and to really bring the fiddle these new possibilities in rock music and amplified music.
Hmm.
So an amazing artist that really never got the recognition that I feel he should have gotten.
There's a lot of artists that we had Ivy Ford on last week,
I love
and
her.
yes, and she was absolutely a brilliant guest as well as, and she was saying that we had a chat about the 27 Club,
Ah,
about the artists there, about some of the artists who had passed away at such an early age. I guess art is such a passion for some people. It's such a in when you create, it's giving so much of your soul, isn't it? And
absolutely.
so and so it can take us to different directions. Maybe we don't really want to go. Maybe it be to the drink, or it may be to something extreme, isn't it? But it's such a passion that we kind of, it goes through our veins, the arts, and we just live it. And sometimes it takes us a little bit early, I guess.
I think part of that is some of the artists in that 27 club of course reached fame well before 27 years old. They might have reached it at 20, 2 or 23 or earlier when they started in
Quite
the
young,
game.
isn't it?
And when you are an artist, the lines are often blurry anyway. That's what art is about. It's making fantasy and what's the word I'm looking for? It's a way of expressing our humanity in this sort of there's a word I'm looking for that I can't even think of
Hmm.
right now,
I'm
but
trying to
it's
go
it's
there.
but it's kind of like the fantasy is part of the expression that we allow people who are the audience to experience their own humanity in this way that they're not able to. And those lines that are blurred carry
Hmm.
over into, unfortunately, into, I think, a lot of artists' inability to kind of blur the lines of and boundaries of what's safe.
Yes,
And
off
if that happens
stage.
when you're young and it's crazy,
Yeah.
it's
You know, I was just thinking, we were talking about being young. I heard something on one talk show, whatever, about, Justin Bieber, our pop star, who started out really early. I think
yeah.
he was on Ellen or Oprah, one of the shows. but there was something about the high decibels of noise that he experienced at such a young age, which
Mhm.
kind of took his nervous system, the way I understood this conversation, kind of took his nervous system out of whack a little bit. Because if you're 14, 15, and you get that, I've heard that shriek, and it is a weird kind of thing that comes, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, what is that?
I've never
And
heard that explanation. This is fascinating. Like a physiological source for the madness.
exactly. Yeah, I guess so.
It's quite
Funny.
possible. Absolutely.
Hmm.
I would imagine that's
Can you
absolutely
imagine? I
possible.
mean, especially if you're a sensitive type of soul in the
Yeah.
first place, you know. Gosh, let's talk about your record label. Are you releasing your songs on that?
I am, and my label is just really, I'm coming from you, from the headquarters, which is my basement.
Okay. What's it called? It's a lovely basement.
So yeah, thank you. It's just a backdrop hiding all the mess right now, of course. But my label is called Rugged Road Records,
Uh
and
huh.
I do a lot of session work and studio work for people that want to add strings or violin to their music. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been recording out of my basement and hired to
Mm-hmm.
do tracks for many artists through the years, and this is also
Fantastic.
where I produce my own music. So
Great.
in fact, I just recently released a single a few weeks ago called Over. And
Okay.
it was a collaboration with Marcus James, who is a wonderful singer songwriter, blues based guitar player from California. And
Okay,
we've
Marcus
been
James. Okay.
Marcus James. We've been
Uh huh.
collaborating long distance for gosh several years now, and
Yes.
have kind built a catalog of these little songs, these experiments. And
Yeah. You go
he wrote
out
a
as Harris
song.
James, is it? Is it the Harris
Yes,
James? You do live as well, don't you? You do some live.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and we have some stuff coming up this summer. Hopefully, things will continue to progress, and we can open things up for live music because it's been tough on everyone.
Yes, definitely. You've been described you and Marcus James. Your sound has been described as a kaleidoscope. A kaleidoscope. My tongue today is too twisted. A kaleidoscope of deep grooves. Are you
Oh,
are you atmospheric instrumental passages and harmonies and poetic flashes in the music terrain? Are you write all of your stuff? Are you doing
yes.
covers?
Yes, it's all original material, and
Mm-hmm.
Marcus will bring an idea or two to the table that I take and I add to it, and then he adds to it. It's a true collaboration in that sense. So yes, everything is original, and I'm fortunate. I have a career of collaboration. You know, I
Yes.
work with several wonderful different projects, and I love
Uh,
that because it allows
that's
each one of them is very eclectic in its own way. And
That's right. And
so
also the gumbo and grits, is it
gumbo
gumbo
grits
and
and
grits trio?
gravy. Yeah, gumbo
Gumbo
grits and
grits and gravy.
gravy.
Yes.
That's a wonderful trio with Marcella Simeon, who is a
Uh huh.
fabulous, beautiful singer songwriter, and she plays accordion and piano and writes. And the fabulous Guy Davis, who you probably are familiar with. Guy is a
Mm-hmm.
blues, folk roots acoustic guitar player, wonderful
Uh-huh.
singer songwriter, storyteller. So we've joined forces, and we also have some more touring coming up that we've
That's
had to
right.
derail last
You
summer.
got some gigs starting. What is it? July was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
July. Oh, I'm so glad you know my schedule because I'm still like, I feel a bit shell shocked. I haven't even used a calendar in so long.
Exactly. I know. But listen, get the dust off the calendar and get ready because from I'd love to see all of your stuff, and especially with the gumbo grits and gravy. They said it reminds me of a little bit of was it Carolina chocolate drops? Is it with
Oh, I love
I
them.
That's great sound with a little bit more modern fashion to it.
Yep, and that project, it's a mix of originals and some covers that rotate depending on what mood we're in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the Carolina Chocolate Drops are,
Oh,
I can't overstate the importance of them as an institution, as a band,
as an
as an
institution,
educational project.
definitely.
They were just an incredible force and put out um, several amazing records. I would
They did
recommend
indeed.
anyone to listen to them, find them, seek them out.
Exactly. You know what? Speaking of playing the chocolate drops, why don't we get you to put a track on? Patsy, should we get Ann to put a track on for us, or to play a track
I would
if
love
you
to.
would not mind.
I would be honored to. This
And
I'm just
go
gonna I'm
ahead.
gonna play a little bit here, and I do have a track. A dear friend of mine here in Chicago that I do some work with. He's a wonderful blues singer songwriter, guitar
Uh
player.
huh.
His name is Dave Herrero, and he's the guitar player that you'll hear on this track. And this is
Okay.
just a amusing here.
Yeah,
So let me make sure I'm in tune.
that's good. Okay. Is that loud?
How's-
Is that okay, Patsy? Thumbs up.
Is the level okay?
Level okay, Patsy? Yeah. That sounds fine. Yeah. Go ahead and just have a little go. Oh man. Round of applause, yo. That was so beautiful. Just takes you
Oh,
away.
thank you.
I wanted to talk about this other thing, but I want to go first. Before I go to the other thing, I want to talk to you about I want to talk to you about um, Jefferson Starship.
Oh, yes. That's so funny you mentioned that because I just was exchanging messages about an hour ago with my dear friend Kathy Richardson, who's the lead singer of Jefferson Starship. She's been
Mm-hmm.
tour she has been the official lead singer of that band for over 10 years now, and she's a neighbor of mine. She lives just a
I
couple
see.
blocks away, and I've been working with her for as long as, we've been neighbors here in our
Uh
little
huh.
town outside of Chicago.
Yes.
And so through her association and through the history of that band having Sugarcane Harris as a fiddle player for many of their tours, and
I
some of their
didn't know
records.
that.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that they brought me into the fold. So I've played with them. I play with them from time to time when our
Yes.
schedules allow, and they are
Uh,
incredible. Incredible band that's keeping alive the
ex-
spirit of what they did in the 60s. It's pretty
a
incredible.
historical American band. Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet? I wonder.
I
I
You
just
know,
thought of that
that's a good
actually.
I don't
Yeah,
know that. That's a really
they
good question.
should
I'm going
be, shouldn't they?
they Yeah. If they're not, they're probably headed there, I would imagine.
So
They're
what is okay? So did Jefferson Starship become Jefferson Airplane with Grace Slick, or do you know how
Yeah,
that worked? I was just
they started as Jefferson Airplane with Grace,
okay.
and then they turned into Jefferson Starship, but it was always one of those bands that had a really kind of wide umbrella that
Yeah,
brought in all kinds of musicians in and out through that door. But
I
Paul
see.
Kantner really founded the band, and he and Grace
Yes.
were kind of the two main people.
Uh
And
huh.
David Freiberg was also one of he got in early with that band, and he's still with the current lineup of Jefferson
Mhm.
Starship. So
Mhm.
it's one of those bands with a storied history,
Oh my God.
and it's incredible to play some of this music. When I'm sitting in with them, that's
Mhm.
like a music that changed rock and roll. Some music that rock and roll was a foundation.
Oh
Built
yeah.
from that foundation of some of those songs, some of their catalogs. So um,
They were always. I'm from the West Coast, and they were always on the radio.
yeah,
You know, we KROQ in Los Angeles. You
right.
know.
Exactly. And I mean, what a they were ahead of their time in so many
Oh
ways,
yeah.
and one of the important ones was in having Sugarcane Harris jump in with them and join aboard that magical ship, because at the time he was in his, I think, mid 50s, and these were all kids. They were all in their early 20s,
Oh
and
my
he would
goodness.
go on some of these festivals, on some of these stages in front of all these young white kids, and just rock out, like people had never seen exactly a violin player do what he did. And that's why earlier when we were talking about Sugarcane Harris, and I
Mhm.
I brought up Papa John Creech, because he was just he brought to the instrument this whole other
Mhm.
possibility and this whole potential that was super um arty and way ahead of its time. It was really cool.
I mean,
So
definitely Ray had having a violin on stage. If I'm not wrong, but back in the '60s, it was more like power chords and guitar and bass and drums. That
yeah,
was I just couldn't even imagine how that would have worked. But it was one of those things that people really loved. I guess.
exactly. It really did work. And I think that's a testament to his playing,
Oh
and
yeah.
also a testament to the instrument. I think that the
Yes.
violin, a lot of people say it's the instrument that's most closely aligned with the human voice. And I think for that reason it has this versatility. Some people might not think it's not the first instrument. When you think of rock and roll, you think of guitars,
Now,
but
yeah.
the voice of the violin is really versatile. I see it fitting into wherever.
Now, who did you ask to play at the age of 8, or did your mom says you're gonna play the violin?
No, I started actually begging when I was around the age of 3 or 4, because
Did
my
you?
mother took me and my sister to see the movie version of Fiddler on the Roof, the musical. and I remember vaguely seeing that movie, but she said at the time I was just rapt at the opening overture where
Business.
Isaac Stern is in silhouette playing on the rooftop, and she said I stood up in my seat. I was like, "Mommy, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do," and I
You're
just did.
kidding.
I know it's
What a
crazy.
blessing. Isn't that something?
So, as I said, my household and also the community I was raised in was such a supportive community for the arts. So I was really, really fortunate.
Definitely.
Times are so different now. I mean, so much
Hmm.
funding for the arts here in America, has been drastically slashed. There's almost no opportunities for young kids unless you
How
have
how do they
money.
think? How does the ruling government think? I know I don't want to get political, but we're talking about Patsy was saying earlier that, oh, thank you for being an artist, and I remember going to the doctor, and my doctor said, well, there's a gynecologist,
Yeah.
and she says, I'm talking about me singing blues, and then she says, oh, we miss you guys so much. You know,
Oh.
her job is to stand in this dark room
Yeah.
and in no daylight,
Yeah.
no natural light,
Right.
and for however many hours a day in a hospital.
Yeah.
And when you come out of that hospital, you need something other than that reality of human suffering, let's say. So,
Absolutely.
how can the government or the ruling bodies think that we can do without that?
I know it's mind blowing to me. I just don't understand the disconnect of art, of the importance of art for our mental health, for our spiritual health, for our emotional health, and obviously we're talking about music because you and I are both musicians, but all arts. I mean, visual art and dance and it's all of these expressions that translate and um, and examine the human experience in ways that are beyond our just intellectual ability to I
I
can't
know.
overstate that importance. So I don't know why um I can speak for my culture why this particular culture here has never embraced it in a way that really looked at it as a life force and a way to sustain people,
I read that you served on the board of governors in Chicago chapter of National Academy of Recording Arts.
Yes.
Did was there any influence? Did you have any influence, or that chapter have any influence on the governing bodies of what can come in and out of the city for the people?
Well, it's interesting. I am still a member. I've been a member of NARIS, the National, Recording Arts and Sciences organization that you mentioned, which is also known as the Grammy people. I mean, the big notoriety is that the Grammy Awards are created by NARIS. And I served on the local Chicago board as a governor, and then I also served a couple terms as a national trustee. And that, our responsibility was kind of to navigate that organization and its relevancy to musicians. There's a lot of misunderstanding about the awards because it's such a huge thing, the Grammy Awards, and there's a
Yes.
lot of contention about who should be nominated, who isn't, and uh, and our job, my experience that I can speak of with years of being a part of that organization is it's full of incredibly creative, gifted people that really want to help our community of musicians and the
Yeah.
people that support music to help it try to be as good as it can be. The award process is voted on by the people that are members, so it's not just like a handful of secret society people. They're very open and transparent with what they're trying to do, and some of the best work they do goes unseen. Some of the best work that
Yes.
organization does um, is helping artists in times of need, especially this past year.
Oh,
Music
must have.
Cares,
They had a handful.
incredible.
Yeah, music airs. That's right. Yeah, I was watching a concert about that the other night.
Yeah.
I was trying to think who the artist was. Um, who was that? They were celebrating on music airs. Was it? Oh God, I can't think now. Anyway, it's only a
Uh,
couple of nights ago.
yes, I don't. I can't recall which one that
Yeah, that
was. You might
doesn't
have
matter
sent
because
me that.
I got a few things going through my head. But
Yeah.
shall we have a look at that the movie that you tell us a little bit about the 10-minute movie that that won quite a few awards.
Yeah,
Um,
you know, I'll tell you something. Here's a little thing about me that I think is pretty hilarious.
yes,
It's everything that happens to me, like none of it is planned.
of course. Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
so not
Beautiful.
organized. I should be more proactive and more out there, go get it. But you know,
Yeah.
honestly, my work is trying to be as good as I can as a musician, to practice, to learn music, to hopefully be inspired by things. And this was one of those things that just came to me. It was somebody
Yes.
that knew me through my work with Kathy Richardson, actually, who we just talked about earlier, or from
Uh
Jefferson
huh.
Starship. And he said there's this director who is looking to shoot this independent short movie in Chicago. And the name of the movie originally was called The Cellist, and it was going to be about a street performer who is really a performer on a much bigger scale, but goes on the street just to practice and make connection. Anyway, long story short,
Yes.
the director went on YouTube and found some of my performances and engaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to would you be interested in doing a movie?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Uh
that'd be
huh.
so awesome." So I had the wonderful opportunity to work with Mark Schimmel. He was the
Uh huh.
director and he wrote the script. And the little girl who worked with me, her name is Reese Harley. She was amazing,
She is indeed. Yeah.
and he allowed me to score the movie. So I had a couple of songs that I thought would be perfect, and those are the song. So the music you hear in the movie is my music.
And tell us the name of it again from the cellist. It was
The name of the song or the name of the
the
movie?
movie,
The movie's
the
called The Musician, and
the
it's
musician.
available for free. You can, if you go to my website, you'll find a link to watch it for free. We just want to get it out there now that it's done running the festival circuit. It's
Exactly.
available. So
Well, Patsy's put it up a little bit. Now, Patsy, should we have a little look at that end? We'll watch this to the end, and we'll come back to you after the film is over.
perfect.
So
Okay.
you won't be in shot, so we'll just show the film, and we'll come back to you after the film is over. Another 8 minutes or so we've got for that. Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Thank
we'll come back to you in a
you.
second. Okay.
Okay.
Talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
That won so many awards. I mean, there wasn't even enough room on the screen to fit all the awards nominations. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Well, Mark Schimmel, who was the director, he created the piece. This was his work. I feel like I shouldn't even take any credit for it. I was lucky, so fortunate that he wanted to work with me. But he entered it in a bunch of indie short film festivals, and we were just so pleased with how well
Oh
it did.
yes. Yeah, and the music is superb. I mean, it suits you. Everyone's if you look on the right hand side of your screen, there's comments there, and
Oh,
there are people
fabulous.
talking. You can see all the comments there. People are having a chat about it. So,
I'm so happy. Well, I again, if people want to see it or spread it or share it, they can absolutely please do that.
Yeah,
It's free and it's available on my website.
yeah, that website is Ann Harris. That's Ann with an E, A-double-N-E Harris, Harris,
Yes,
annharris.com.
yes,
And
correct.
you got other platforms, social platforms there they can hook you up, like, little
Yes. Please find me on
Instagram.
Instagram. Yep, I'm on Instagram. I think Instagram I'm probably most active on, but obviously I'm on Facebook as well, and I'm on Twitter. So those are my main forms of social
Well done.
interaction.
Well done.
Yeah.
And before we start to wrap up, I just wanted to, I want Jennifer Noble,
Oh,
whose book you're
Jennifer!
in, and you're in the 50 Women in Blues book, aren't you, as well?
Jennifer is a doll. She is such a huge supporter of music, of blues music, and I've known her for years. She's an absolutely lovely woman, and her book
Yes,
is so beautiful. It's an honor to be included among so many wonderful women.
definitely. And I think she said that book is coming out in paperback as well. And I had another thing in my mind. I lost that as well. Never mind.
My
It's been
body
love. I
butter.
can't.
Was it about my
Sorry.
body butter?
Yeah, it's about the body butter. There's one thing before the body butter. Yeah, but your organic, vegan, and sustainable, luxurious body butter.
Oh yeah,
Do you make that at home,
I
or how's
do.
that work?
I make it in my
Do you
kitchen.
really?
Yeah, and it's so funny, Kat. I've kind of dabbled. I dabble in making and crafting my own beauty products, just like, lip balms and
Is
lotions and hair
Oh,
stuff.
how
I
cool is
have for years
that?
just because it's fun. But with
Yeah,
all of the hand washing and all of the,
I
practicing
imagine.
and
Yes.
everything in the last year, I just got really obsessed with
Mm.
perfecting um, a, a body butter, a light
Mm.
but very hydrating body butter. And so
Is
I
that?
went to so that's what
Go
I
ahead.
did, and my line is called Radical Self Love. It's available in three different scents, but I guarantee it's like no, it's the most luxurious thing. Please allow me to send you one. I would
Oh
love you
my
to
God,
try
I'd
mine.
love it. And can you tell us where they can get radical self love? Where can they
I
get the
on Again on my website.
on the
There.
website? Good, on annharris.com.
Yes.
Radical self love. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Where do you get your ingredients? Do you have to get them from like South America or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that?
Well, I the cocoa butter is from South America,
Okay.
and the shea butter is from Ghana,
Uh huh.
and everything else is sourced in the States. But
Yeah.
it's like very simple, very lovely, and extremely pure, luxurious butter that will transform your skin. I
Oh
guarantee
my
it.
goodness. A friend of mine gave me a little block like that of shea butter because I
Oh,
fell over
yeah.
and busted my. So I've been doing this trying to get rid of
It will help. It will help. Shea
Really?
butter is amazing. Yeah, it's got incredible
Yes.
properties, and it even has a sunblock factor of 6%.
Oh,
So
does it?
it's
I didn't know.
you can't use it as a sunscreen, but it does have
Yeah.
a little bit of natural sunscreen in it, which is really nice. So
Radical self love body butter. I love
yeah,
that.
girl. Yeah. I'm gonna send you some butter. So you just send me your preferred mailing address. I'll get you one in the mail.
I will love that. And I thank you so much for that. Let's see, now we've covered annharris.com. You guys make sure you get there and pick up some radical self love body butter.
Yeah.
And also check out the film and pick up any kind of music that you want. And let's see where you're going to be playing again in July. I had it written down somewhere. Let me see where I put it. If you can, most of the time we don't. I don't remember where I am half the time either. I've
I
got little
know
notes here, and I.
there's actually some dates that I have not added to the website that are just being confirmed now. So I
Okay,
would
cool.
definitely encourage people to check back. But I'm doing
Yeah.
a tour with JP Sours the end of May and for
Uh huh.
10 days into June. And that's going to be mostly
Yes.
in Florida. And then I go out a few weeks later with Gumbo Grits and Gravy, and that's going to be an East Coast thing. And the big festival I think that's anchoring that tour is going to be the North Atlantic Blues Fest, which is a very big festival over here. And we're just glad that some outdoor music is resuming in a very safe way. So,
Definitely. We're just opening up here on Monday in London,
oh,
and
good.
and I was in Camden Town, which is kind of central London, and today, and there's, because we love our pubs here.
Yes,
and,
yes.
but we can only go to the pub if it's outdoors.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
whatever little seats, they were all occupied. And people
Of
just
course.
it's such a tradition just to have a pint, you know what I mean?
I know. I would love to have a pint with you this afternoon. Where can we go?
Yes, well, once you come over here, you got any plans of coming over here in the future, Ann?
Not in the immediate future, but I will absolutely connect with you because I'd love to play with you and I would love to drink with you.
I would be so down for that. Listen, we'll keep that in the pipeline and we'll let that happen, Let's let that synergy happen.
I love
I got
that.
goose pimples now thinking about it.
I would
Thanks
love
for thinking
that.
of that.
Yeah, that would be amazing. You're amazing, and I'm in awe of you for this whole show. I mean, congratulations to you. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we're just trying to bring the blues community and all communities together, but especially the blues community, give it a little bit of lift up. This is like the one-stop shop for those things. And
Yeah.
it didn't have to be an artist. You can be like Jennifer was on photographers, venue owners. Just keep it a one-stop shop. Keep it in a little hub. We can talk, we can discuss,
I love
and
it.
and keep things moving.
I love it.
So everyone, give a round of applause. You guys all at home, for Ann Harris. Thank you so much for popping in, Mrs. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. You are such a gracious host, and I am truly honored to have spent this lovely afternoon. Well, it's a portion of your evening, but
Exactly.
Thank you for
Thank
what
you
you're
for giving
doing.
us your time, and 'tis a blessing. Until next time, Madame.
Absolutely.
We'll see you again.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Mwah.
Peace out. Bye.
Peace out.